Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Puj balbir Brahm sukh sagar Garat parat Gahle ho anguriya Sravan na surat Nain sundar nahi Aarat dwar Ratat pinguriya Deenanath Anath karuna mein Sajan meet Pita mahotariya Charan kaval Hirday gahnanak Paisagar sant Pare utariya Paisagar sant Pare utariya Besumar Athaha Aganat Atole Jo bulavo Tyo Nanak Das bole Tan Tan Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Chavar Chhatr Tak de Malik Log par log de Sahayik ਦੇ ਸਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ ਅਸੀਸਾਂ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਗੱਜ ਗੱਜ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਆਖੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਜੀਓ ਮੈਂ ਗਿਰ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਗਿਰਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ I've fallen down and ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬਾਹਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਬਲ ਹੈ ਭੁਜ ਬਲਬੀਰ you're a warrior with strength in your arms pull me out of the darkness where I've fallen down into ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਪੰਥ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਹਨੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ and we're going to have to turn to our guru to find out how we can save ourselves. We're not going to get saved by turning to anybody else and asking for help. We're only going to get saved by turning to our Guru, because he's the one that's got the strength to do that. And I want to go through and explode today a myth that's been going on for a long time. The myth is of the special relationship between the British and the Sikhs. Because this is something that I hear all the time. ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ This is not false in the slightest. We've done a lot for the British. If you look in the history of the Sikh faith, although we fought the British government quite a lot when they came to India, after that we done them many favors. The first rebellion against British rule was in Calcutta. It's called the Indian Mutiny. It was the Sikh regiments that went down there and quelled that. Again, we didn't get anything for it because they carried on exploiting us as well. I'm going to go through 4 different ways how the British tried to attack our philosophy. The British didn't just attack us in the traditional sense. They did that. They stole our Raj away. They sent Duleep Singh, who was supposed to be the Sikh emperor, sent him away to England, converted him to Christianity, and basically took away Sikhi from him, who was supposed to be the king of the Sikh empire. And on top of that, then they took away the Sikh Raj from the Sikh community. But not just that, they went even further and they tried to attack the very core foundations of Sikhi. And whilst they were doing this, the Sikh community was totally unaware of whether these people were trying to destroy Sikhi or keep Sikhi alive, and we carried on supporting them. We supported them in the First World War. We fought out there in the First World War. Many Sikhs died. And in return, First World War was from 1914 to 1918. In 1919, the British government rewarded us with the Juliana Bagh massacre. When they were saying to the Sikhs, you have to walk through this gully crawling. You can't even walk through the streets of Amritsar with your head held up high. You have to keep your head down and crawl in this street. Then when the Sikhs were protesting peacefully in Juliana Bagh, General Dyer came in with his machine guns and killed thousands of people. Then we helped them in the First World War. In the Second World War, again, many Sikhs from 1939 to 1945 left Punjab, went all over to Japan, went to China, went to Burma, they went to Africa, they went to Europe. They fought for the British Empire. And how did they reward us? In 1947, they split Punjab in half, which meant that 10 million Sikhs became displaced. 10 million people had to move house because of that line. And who drew that line? Radcliffe, a British guy. He drew that line, went straight through and divided Lahore from Amritsar. As he drew that line, it was straight through Punjab. And 1 million people died, Satsangiji, and I would say that most of those people would have been Sikh. That died leaving from Pakistan Punjab to India Punjab. That was our reward for helping them in the Second World War. So when we say proudly that we did a lot for the British Empire, that's 100% true. But they didn't do much for us. The British government was totally ungrateful to the Sikh community in the First World War and the Second World War because of what they did to us. Not because of what we want to feel about them now and be upset with them. No. Just by their actions, we can judge that they totally worked to undermine the Sikh community. They knew what was going to happen to the Sikhs when they did that line. They knew what would happen to the Sikh community. But they did it anyway. Because they didn't care. We cared for working for these people, but they never cared for us. And what I'm upset about is how we walk around now. I was at this event yesterday, Saragadi event. How we walk around talking about the special relationship we have with the British Empire. And unfortunately, none of us remember the sacrifices that we made and they ignored. We talk about these 35 Sikhs and how they died in Saragadi. That's Chardi Kala. But that really is a sign of the Sikh spirit. It's our success, how we fought. It's not something that we now can look at the British Empire and say, well, they actually did something good back for us. Yeah? At the same time as that was going on, when I was on the British BBC Empire and they said, should you be proud of the British Empire? There was people up there saying we should be proud. And the worst thing I heard there was about things like Sati, the British banned Sati. And we know that Guru Amar Das Ji is the one that banned Sati for us. So again, they pointed to Raja Ranjit Singh and they said, well, some of his wives committed Sati, which is true. The question here is some of his wives didn't. One of the most important wives didn't do so. Maharaji Jind Kaur did not commit Sati. She was a mother of Dalip Singh. No one threw her on the funeral pyre. She chose not to. And she was allowed to. Because that's a Sikh principle. But some of them chose to. And they willingly chose to kill themselves. But Satsangit Ji, the whole Ranjit Singh's empire lasted for 40 years. 40 saal unhe Raj kita. He never once had to kill anybody in the empire for doing treason against him. There was no capital punishment in the Ranjit Singh's Raj. People were put in prison, but they were never killed. But look at the British Empire. When the British Empire was in Punjab, how many people did they kill after they arrested? Hanging was a common thing that they introduced. It was not there before. And the best way they killed people if you want to ask a question, should you be proud of the British Empire? The best way the British killed people was by strapping them to the front of a cannon and firing a cannonball through their chest. They did that to Sikhs. Sikhan nal kitta. Look at the Kuke who were fighting against the British, and they strapped them to cannons and they blew a top. They fired that through their chest. Was that to kill them? No, it was not just to kill them. It was to terrify the population into submission. It was a scare tactic. That's what we'll do to you if you stand up against us. It was designed to strike terror into the populace. The same with Juliana Bagh massacre. Everything the British did was always to teach other people a lesson. They would be brutal to teach people a lesson. They did the same thing in Africa, in Kenya, with the Mau Mau. And the proof of that is coming out now. Since 2013, the documents have been coming up about the Mau Mau rebellion and how the British worked against 1.6 million people so they could keep their Raj in Kenya. So, I said earlier, I was going to go through also 4 ways, not just remembering how the British rewarded us for our loyalty towards them, but also 4 ways they worked to undermine the Sikh faith. And these ways are still here now. That's why I'm pointing them out. They're still here now. And if we don't work to bring them back, bring Sikhi back to where it should be, they'll carry on destroying Sikhi. Jere mein 4 reasons, the things I'm going to go into now, eh halle tak prachalit ne. They're still prevalent now. Te ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਾ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੀ ਹਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਘਾਟਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ. We're having destruction to the Sikh faith because of these 4 things. The first one is the status of the Guru. When the British came to India, they wanted to establish Christianity in India as well. The missionaries came at the same time. But the one community that surprised them was the Sikh community. They fought against them. They were strong. They were very strong in their faith. And they were a little bit surprised by these people. And they said, we've got to work to undermine their faith. This is where they get their strength from. So, one thing they've attacked a lot in that time and even now is the status of the Guru. And the words like the word prophet, teacher, these all came into our lexicon, into our usage at that time. Ki Guru Sahib, if ek peer sige, ek पैगंबर sige. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੈਗੰਬਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਬੁਲਾਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਉਹ ਆਪ ਗਲਤੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ. ਪ੍ਰੋਫਿਟ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਗਲਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ. It's in the Quran, it's in the community that once they got confused by shaitan and they started to say words, then later on they said, no, these were not the words of God, they were the words of the devil. So he himself was not perfect, he made mistakes. And they accept that. Called the satanic verses. All the previous Christian prophets, sorry, not the Christian prophets, before Jesus, they've all been seen as people that could make mistakes and not perfect human beings. Moses lelo, Abraham lelo. But we don't believe that about our Guru. We believe our Guru to be perfect. We believe our Guru can't make mistakes. For us, the Guru is not a prophet. The Guru is more than a prophet. Guru is Rabada Roop, Jot Roop Har Aap, Guru Nanak Kahayo. The Guru Nanak is Aap Waheguru on earth. This is what Bani is saying. Ki pal pan mathra kach ped nahi. Guru Arjan partakh har. Guru Arjan Dev Ji is God. Bani is saying about Guru Amar Das Ji ki aap Narayan Kalatar jag meh parvaryo Nirankar Akar Jot Jagmandal karyo. That Waheguru that could not be seen is now seen as the Guru. And Asa Diwar, every morning in this Gurdwara they sing these words ki Satgur vich aap rakhyon kar pargat aag sunaya. That the Guru has got God inside him and this thing is not hidden. It's made pargat and it's given out, told to everybody that God is inside the Guru. So for us, our Guru is perfect. He can't make mistakes. Pullan andar sabko. Apul Guru kartar Guru Nanak Dev Ji says these words. He makes it clear who he is. He says, I can't make mistakes, Sikho. Yaad rakho ye cheez. Although he says, hum avgun pare, those are words for us to sing. Unna di nimata hegi hai. But they can't make mistakes because they're perfect. They're Puran. And even in Sukhmani Sahib, Maharaj says, Pure Gur ka sun upadesh. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Padshah in Sukhmani Sahib tells us Sikhs, Sikho main pura aya. People say the Guru never said he's perfect, the Guru never said he's God. Gurbani says that Guru, in Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Padshah says, Pure Gur ka sun upadesh. Par Brahm nikat kar pek. See God close to you. Who is saying that? Guru Arjan Dev Ji Padshah. They know who they are. In the same part, Maharaj says to the Sikhs, he says, Ki, O Sikho, you need to find a true Guru, a perfect. And he goes, you know how you're going to find a true Guru? A true Guru is somebody who sold himself to Waheguru, has become one with God. That's what you need. Maharaj says, Sat Purkh jin janiya, Sat Gur tiska nao, tiske sang Sikh udare nanak har gun gao. They say the one who's become and knows that Sat Purkh, that is a Sat Guru. And they say they are that Sat Guru. So Sat Sangat Ji, the Christians, when they came to India with the British, they worked hard to bring the level of the Guru down. But you know what they say about Jesus? They say he is God. They never changed their doctrine. They never changed their view that Jesus is God upon earth. We can even understand their view more than sometimes some of their own people can. We can understand ki Brahmgyani aap Parameswar. We can understand them, but we brought our Guru down. We started to say he's just a teacher. He's a holy man. These are all words that they used in their writings. The holy prophets of the Sikh faith. They're not prophets. God upon earth. The incarnation of God upon earth would be closer. The word avatar is closer to what the Guru is than the word teacher. So, pehli gal eh hai that they brought the Guru's status down. And now many Sikhs don't know this. When I went to when I went to Canada now, and I went to one of the Gurdware, when I went to Canada, at one of the Gurdwara, I did katha on this topic, just this one topic, who is the Guru, for 1 hour. And a lot of the people came up to me afterwards and they said, I didn't know this. I didn't know the Guru is God upon earth. I was told something different. The Guru is just a teacher. So Sikh apni philosophy bhul gaye, but Christians apni philosophy nahi bhulle. They kept their status of Jesus, but they reduced our one. Then the next thing they did, after reduce the status of the Guru, because obviously your faith comes down, isn't it? If you think your Guru is just a normal holy person, you say he's just like everybody else. He's just like all the other. That's what you see here now from Sikh kids. They'll say, oh, all the prophets are the same, all the holy people are the same, all the religions are the same. But we don't believe they're all the same. We believe the Guru is the highest. We don't believe they're all the same. It's nowhere in Gurbani where it says, I'm just like everybody else. What you see is the opposite. It says, Sabte Vadda Satguru Nanak Jin Kal Rakhi Meri. He is the greatest of the greatest. The Guru Jin Sacho Sach Bujaya. He gave the truth upon the truth. So we started to reduce the importance of the Guru. I see Sikhs getting up now and complaining about people singing Tan Guru Nanak Tu Hi Nirankar Ek Tu Hi Nirankar. Sikh aake khadke kehne ne ki eh galti hai, kachi bani hai. I thought that for a long time as well, ye bhi kachi bani hoegi kyunki main dekhi nahi ye bani kidhar likhe. People who say it never says in Bani Guruji is God. Kene padhi hai bani hai, puchna chahida. When people say it never says in Bani, ask them, how much Bani have you read, Paji? You're standing up here, bahut vaddi philosophy maar rahe ho. Tusi kuch padhya hai Bani vichon? Read them some shabds from Bani where it says Gur meri puja, Gur Gobind, Gur mera par brahm, Gur Bhagwant. Say Guru is God, says it's Guru mera par brahm. When I heard about the thing about the Guru is not Nirankar, I was doing a Sahaj part and I found a shabad that just knocked me sideways. And I thought, I never heard this before. Because everybody says, it doesn't say in Bani, but who's got all of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Kanth? It says it in Bani, it says, Gur Samrat, Gur Nirankar, Gur Ucha Agam Apar, Gur Ki Mehma Agam Hai, Kya Kathe Kathanhar. Maharaj says, what will a Katha Kathanhar, like a Katha Vachik, what Katha can a Katha Vachik do of the greatness of the Guru? It says, Gur Samrat, the Guru is powerful in all things. Gur Nirankar, the Guru is Nirankar God. Gur Ucha Agam Apar, the Guru is high, the Guru is unknowable. Ki Guru ki Mehma Agam hai. The Guru's praise is beyond, is infinite. Kya Kathe Kathanhar. So we have our Guru on a really high pedestal. We matha take to our Guru is God upon earth for us. Jot Roop Har Aap, Guru Nanak Kahayo. God's light upon earth is Guru Nanak. He is the form of God upon earth. But we started bringing his status down. But the Christians never did that to themselves. They kept their status of their Guru. The second thing, they said to us, you don't preach your religion. It's like a Jedi mind trick. They walked over and they go, you don't preach your religion. We looked up and we said, we don't preach our religion. Says who? Doesn't say anywhere in Bani what I've read that Sikhs aren't supposed to preach their religion. I see the opposite. I see Maharaj saying, Ki aap japo, avra naam japavo. In Sukhmani Sahib. I see Guru Ram Das Ji giving a rehat to the Sikhs. They Sikho swere ud ke naam japna. They tell us what we should be doing. And then at the end of that Shabad, they say, you know what now you need to do? If you want me to ask for your tood, not just you're a good Sikh, but if I come and if you want me to ask for the tood of your feet, I accept you as my Sikh. Then Maharaj says, Jan Nanak tood mange. Tis Gur Sikh ki jo aap jape, avrah naam japave. Who chants God's name themselves and inspires other people to chant God's name. By getting someone to chant God's name, what do you have to do? Talk about? Talk about the Guru. To tell them about the Gurbani, what Gurbani is saying. The only way to get them to do that is to explain to them what Sikhi is. Then Maharaj at the end of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, they gave a hukum. They say, Je ko khave, je ko punche. Thoda ucha bolo. Je ko khave, je ko punche. Tiska hoy udharo. They say you are mukti sikho. Udhar means mukti. They say tusi mukti chahnde ho, then eat bani, because it's at the end of Gurbani this comes up. The thali is Gurbani. They say aap bani khao. Te puncho means share it with others. Puncho means to varta. Jive aapa langar vartaande lokan nu. Usi tarike naal hamaare kehte bani bhi vartao. Share it with other people. Je ko khave, je ko punche. Tiska hoye udharo. Mukti is found by sharing Bani, by sharing Sikhi. But there is not one quote I've seen which says don't spread Sikhi. I've seen loads of quotes saying go and spread Sikhi. Even Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj went to that village and they told those people, Ujjar jao, spread out, spread your goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Spread out. Sanu bhi sare paase ujhar deta. We're living in Southall, we're living in Ealing, we're living in random places all over the world. You see Sikhs. We should be sharing Sikhi. That's what we see in Gurbani. But where do we get our Sikhi from is a question. Do we get it from the British books that say Sikhs have been told not to spread their religion? They're not an expansionary faith. They're not a missionary faith. Or do you see Gurbani telling you something else? जो मैं देखता हूं कि गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी विच महाराज ने सानू हुक्म दिता कि तुम सिक्खी फैलाओ. It's important to the world. Maharaj says themselves, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says themselves, they got given a mission by God. These are God's words to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, कि मैं अपना सुतोहे निवाजा, पंथ परचुर करबे को साजा. Maharaj says to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, God says to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I've made you my son. And what is the reason I've made you my son and sent you into this world? To spread this way. Panth parchur. Parchur means parchar. Spread the Khalsa way. Spread this way of Sikhi. This dharm. It's meant to be spread. So it's against our principles to say we shouldn't spread Sikhi. But the British worked hard to make us not spread Sikhi. And hon in India, Sikhi is limited to Punjabi pracharaks. It's not spread in any other language. They did this to convince us that we stay away from the rest of India and spread Sikhi even bigger. And now, in India, what has been the result of this policy of the Sikhs not doing prachar? There's more Christians in India than there are Sikhs. In the last 150 years, there's been such a growth of Christianity that even in Punjab, they're so big. There's more Christians in India than there are Sikhs, because the Sikhs don't do prachar. We're limited to Punjabis. And then they start, you know what the Indian government is doing, is killing Punjabis through bad food and bad everything. So, the idea is to keep Sikhi weak. But did they change that principle about their own faith? No. They kept in their faith the principle that they got to do prachar. And they come knocking on our doors in Southall as well. Ki tusi ithe bhi Christian ban jao. If you go to Hounds, or there's a church which has got services in Punjabi. If you go to here South Road, you see a church they're doing services in Punjabi. Here they're doing prachar in Punjabi. When I went to Toronto, they've got churches that do prachar in Punjabi. When I went to Vancouver, I found churches that do prachar in Punjabi. They're converting us everywhere. And they say to us, don't spread your faith anywhere. Keep it to Punjabis. But they keep that principle for themselves. So they worked hard to put it into our mentality, not to spread Sikhi. And it's worked, isn't it? It's worked. Very few Sikhs think about spreading Sikhi. They keep it to themselves. Even outside this Gurdwara, there's not one sign saying welcome. Not outside any Gurdwara have I seen a sign saying welcome to the Gurdwara. It's a small thing, you might think. Choti ji cheez hegi hai. Kehn di lod hegi hai. Khos kehn di lod hegi hai. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੌਣ ਲੋਕੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਹਿ ਦੋਗੇ ਨਾ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਵਿੱਚ you know the signs you can buy for £2 welcome, welcome in, bienvenue in every language. Put that outside the Gurdwara and see what happens. People will just come in and say, oh, it says welcome outside, I might come in. Because inside the word welcome is the word come. And they might think, I'll come in then. We don't know how to even approach the outer community. How to even invite people into our Gurdwara. One day we'll learn what Sikhi is. One day we'll go back to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and ask them, Maharaj, tusi daso what is Sikhi? Because we don't know, we've forgotten, we've been brainwashed by the British. And especially the Christian British when they came to India. One day we'll go and find out what true Sikhi is. Who is the Guru? And should we be spreading this philosophy? And I want to talk about two more things. Got about 20 minutes. The first thing is the respect for the Granthi. Granthi da adab satkar. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਰਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੇ ਵਜ਼ੀਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ they destroyed the respect for the Granthi. And what that did is a complete opposite of what Christianity has. Who is in charge of a Gurdwara? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਕਹੋ. Who runs the Gurdwara? The committee. Who runs the committee? So who is the head of the Gurdwara? It says it in the title, isn't it? Pradhan. Right? But who runs the church? The priest, the padre. So in their system, they kept the respect for the person who studied and learned in the religion. And in our community, they introduced a system of committees. So now, the committee, which doesn't have any tests or any skills in Sikhi really, they could do, they couldn't do, we can't always tell, but they run the Gurdwara, and the Granthis don't have any respect and they haven't got any power in the Gurdwara. The Guru system was the Gurmukh system. Whenever they send people different places, they send one Gurmukh to run a Gurdwara. This word we use now is a swear word, Masandane. The Masand is not a bad word. It comes from a word called Masnad-e-Ali, the representatives of God. And it used to mean people of God. Guru Sahib used this word to set up people that were running a Gurdwara. Because what they were supposed to be is Gursikhs. We have a system called the Gurmukh system. But the British, when they took over the Gurdwara, they set up corrupt Masands inside those places. The corrupt Masands, they ruined the name of the Masands, the good Masands. So the good Masands got badnami to the corrupt Masands. Then when this SGPC Lehr was set up to change the Gurdwara, to bring them back into the community's hands, the British said, the only way you're going to get your Gurdwara back is if you set up a committee. So the SGPC was set up by the Sikh community to let the British give us our keys back. So first we had to set up a system that was suitable to them and agreeable to them, and it had to be a committee system. And then we protested and did morche to get the keys back into the hands of that committee. And in 1925, the SGPC had the keys even of Darbar Sahib, which was a great victory. But Sangat Ji, the problem with the SGPC is a committee, and it's completely against the Gurmukh system the Guru set up. So now what you've got is not one Gurmukh running a Gurdwara that is chosen by the Sangat for their Gurmukh qualities, but a committee system. And this is completely anti-Sikhi. There should be no committee system. The respect should be in the hands of the Gursikhs and the Gurmukhs, especially the Granthi Sahiban. They should run the Gurdwara. If you go to a school, it's run by a principal. The principal used to be a teacher. The principal used to teach. They started off as a Granthi, then they moved up to a head Granthi, and they run the Gurdwara. That's how the school should work. What we've got now is the Granthis aren't hired for their skills and expertise. I was talking to a head Granthi in Delhi, a big Gurdwara. I won't name him because I don't want to get him in trouble. और मैं पूछा हेड ग्रंथी साहब ਨੂੰ ਵੱਡਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਆਵੇ ਨਾ ਜੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਬਣਨਾ ਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਹੋ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਹੋ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਕੰਠ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ He said to me, he goes, in the old days when he used to come for a job interview for a Granthi job, they used to ask you, where have you studied? How long have you studied for? How much Bani do you have, Kant? Where are your recommendations? Because it was important, because the education of the Granthi was important, and it was a respected job. And they go, nowadays they ask you, how much will you take? How little will you take? How little will you take compared to the other 10 people that are queuing up for this job? Yeah? How many hours will you work? How many Akhand parts will you do? How many Sukhnisar parts will you do? It's all about money now. It's not about education. Because sabne role laane hain sirf. Just get them on making money. They're just a money making machine. Now you buy one Granthi for this much money, and the Granthi can do this many Akhand parts, and you can sell that many Akhand parts on to the public. The system is not about how much education that person has anymore. It's about getting money out of us to do Akhand parts. That's it. So there's no more respect for the Granthi left, even in the community's eyes, let alone the committee's eyes. Community ek gal hundi hai ki committee to koi respect ka dendi nahi shuru vich. Most of the Granthis, they feel like servants in a Gurdwara. Puch lo unhanu jaake, do you feel respected and well loved by the committee? I've asked many Granthis, and they'll say no, we get treated like knockers over here. And in one Gurdwara they went even further. I heard about one Gurdwara in the UK. Such the kahani hai. You want to hear a true story about what happened in the UK? In one Gurdwara, the Pradhan said to the Granthis, I can't afford to pay you the wages that you want because the Gurdwara is empty in the weekdays. He goes, so I'll tell you what I do. In the weekdays, come and work at my shop. Guess what the shop was selling? Yeah, you guessed it. Alcohol and cigarettes. So the Granthi, the Gurdwara, is now working in a shop in the weekdays selling alcohol, cigarettes, and the weekend the Granthi. Because the system does not respect knowledge. The system is not built to give respect to Gyan. Because the people that are at the top, they haven't got that Gyan themselves. We haven't tested them for their knowledge. We tested them on their ability to get votes. That's the third thing they did. First one, they brought on the respect of the Guru. The second one, they stopped us doing prachar. The third one, They changed the Gurmukh system so the Granthi Sahibs and those people aren't. Imagine going out to Baba Buddha Ji, who was the first Granthi. Ek gal yaad rakho, when Ad Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj was celebrating the Pehla Prakash of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, when Ad Granth Sahib Ji was Prakash in Harmandir Sahib in 1604, at that time the first Granthi was Baba Buddha Ji. Would you go out to Baba Buddha Ji and say, we need a committee on top of you? No, they don't need one, because they're a Granthi Sahib one, because they're respected. Because that's what a Granthi used to be, a person who knew the Granth, knew all the Granths, not just one, all the Granths, and understood Rehatnami, and they were a Gurmukh that ran the Gurdwara. That's our system. We've gone away from that system, and you can see the natija now, the result of that system. And now I'll talk about the fourth thing, is voting and democracy. They introduced that into our Gurdwara as well. And this is completely against Sikhi as well. I'll ask you why now. Why is voting against Sikhi? We may have to use voting to get rid of voting, but I ask you, from Gurbani, can somebody quote me a Bani which explains to us why voting is against Sikhi? You all know this Bani actually. Sabnu pataya. We do it about 2-3 times a day. At the end of Japji Sahib, everybody knows this Pankti. Maharaj says, Karmi apo apni ke nede ke dur. Is everybody equal in Sikhi? No. Because some people are nede, some people are dur. That's what Bani says. Not everybody is equal. Some people are close to God, close to the truth, and some people are far away from God and far away from the truth. There's only two options. Koi nede hai, koi dur hai. So Sangat ji, I'll ask you a simple question. Sare baithe hai ho. I ask you all to raise your hands, okay, on who do you think is bigger? What percentage will be bigger? The people that are, if you think is the ones that are nede, raise your hands. If you think the people that are nede are going to be bigger percentage than the ones that are dur. No one's hand has gone up. Or one person said the people that are nede are going to be more than the ones that are dur. But on the other side, who thinks that it's going to be more people that are dur than the ones that are nede? Nearly everybody's hands gone up. So the reality is that democracy, Loktantra system ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਤੰਤਰ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਦੂਰ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਕਤ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. If you give everybody equal voting, what you've done is given power to the people that are dur, because there's more of them than the ones that are nede. This is why it's against Sikhi. In Sikhi there's no voting for everybody. In Sikhi what you should have is a system whereby the people that are nede are found, selectively you find the people that are nede and then give them power. Don't say we can't do it, because the alternative is not an alternative for us. Democracy is not going to work for us. We have to make a system which is selective. And this is our system, and it's exactly what the British Christians still have. Look at the English church, and you will find that the church is run by the padre or the priest, and they don't have any voting. Ask the congregation walking around here, do you get to vote in your church? They'll say no. Why should we vote? The padre is in charge. He's educated, he's qualified, they spend years learning to become one of them people. They get selected to become part of that church and run it. They've got a selective system which runs their community. The synod, the general synod which voted whether they want female bishops or not, it's a very strong system. It's been going on for hundreds of years. And it's selective. There's no local general public voting. It's selective. Because they know, and everybody knows, that the people that are close to God are few and far between, and the people that are actually away from God are always more in number. Maharaj says, Virle kei ke jag mein uttam kandi hai. Virle kei ke. There's very few of them that are uttam, the ones that are close to God. So what we've done is we've convinced everybody they have got a right to vote in a Gurdwara. But this is completely against Sikhi. Not everybody should have the right to vote in a Gurdwara. Only the people that know what Sikhi is should have the right to vote in a Gurdwara. So now, really, everybody should have a test in a Gurdwara. And those that pass the test should be able to vote. And those that don't pass shouldn't get a chance to vote. And just simple things like, can you name the 10 gurus? That would be one that a lot of people would fail as well. Nowadays, if you say, put them in order, all 10 gurus, and people will be like, oh, बहुत awkward question पूछते हो पाजी. Go and ask them who their favorite football team is and can they name the people in their football team, and they'll say, yeah, no problem, of course I can. They'll tell you where they play as well. They'll give you the whole order of the pitch. But 10 gurus, they can't name. But yet they'll say, I've got a right to vote in a Gurdwara, why not? What do you know about Sikhi that you're deciding on who gets to run the Gurdwara? We need to have humility in a Gurdwara. We need to learn that we may not know the right answer. When we come here, humility is really important. When we matha take to our Guru, that's saying, Maharaj, I don't know anything, you know everything. Tu samrath vadda, meri mat thodi raha. Gurbani says, you are the greatest, you are the powerful, and meri mat thodi raha. My mat is not that big. This humility is really important, that we don't decide that we know what Sikhi is. People always doing dawa online. Not dawa, dawa means not just Islamic preaching, it means to make a statement as well in Punjabi. They make statements online, oh, this is not Sikhi. How do you know what Sikhi is? Tusi kede padhe ho? Kinni bani tanu kanth hai? Kinne shabad tusi padhe hege? How much bani have you memorized? How many shabads have you read? How much itihas and history have you read for you to make a statement that this is not Sikhi? Who made you the expert on Sikhi? There's a lot of ahankar in our community nowadays. Everybody thinks they're an expert on Sikhism. But Sat Sangat Ji, we should have some humility and say that before I haven't studied Sikhi, you've not studied Guru Granth Sahib Ji, I've not learned history, I don't get to choose who runs a Gurdwara. I don't have the knowledge. So we shouldn't be voting. The problem is, we might have to use this system to get rid of this system. In order to get the committees out of power, we may have to use voting. So yes, we may have to use voting, but we should be prepared to give up voting for a better system which is close to Sikhi principles, which is the Gurmukh system. Which I've said many times on this stage, there should be Panj Pyare in every Gurdwara. They should run the Gurdwara. And we should be involved in selecting the Panj Pyare, looking for the right qualities. We have a right to say, I want my Panj Pyare to be people that are approachable, people I can go and talk to. Those are things we have a right to say. What kind of things do we want from the Panj Pyare? But no, I want Panj Pyare to let me do whatever I want. Say to me it's okay to drink. Say to me it's okay to do whatever I like. That's what people are doing now with the Kathawachiks. When I went to America, some of the Granthis told me, well, in this Gurdwara we can't talk against alcohol. Because if we talk against alcohol, the community gets upset because they like to drink alcohol. Well, they might like to drink alcohol, but that's not a part of Sikhi. And from this stage, we have to speak the truth. Because this stage is made for truth. Maharaj says in Bani, Sach ki Bani, Nanak akhai, Sach sunai si, Sach ki bela. They go, I speak the Bani of the truth. I make everybody listen to the truth. Why? Because it's a time of truth. It's enough pakhand in this world already. There's enough choot going on outside. Politicians are the least trusted people nowadays. People do not trust politicians to tell the truth. If we don't speak the truth from this stage, where will we speak it from? When we are the ones that have been given the truth. Now this is the other thing that people get a bit scared about saying. That Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the truth. They say, oh, that sounds like everybody else's lies. No. If you have the truth, it doesn't mean that other people haven't got a part of the truth. By saying you've got the truth is not to say that other people haven't got a part of the truth. It just says that you've got the complete truth. And we have the complete truth. We've got Guru. The Guru speaks only the truth. He speaks the complete truth. And we should not be afraid of saying that. So what I've tried to go through today, I'm going to summarize now, just because there's so many things and we might forget. The British worked hard to bring down our respect for the Gurus, but they kept the respect for Christ, the British Christians. Then they told us we don't preach, but they preach. They told us that Gurdwara should be run by committees, but their padres run their gurdwara, and their system is selection. Then they told us you should have voting, but they don't have any voting. All these things have worked to destroy Sikhi in the last 100 years. What you're seeing now around you is broken down because it's away from the Guru system. And any businessman who can get a lot of votes and get his mates who can get a lot of votes from the family and Bradri and everything else, or whichever Malwa or Majja where they're from, they can come into a Gurdwara and take it over. And the Granthis got no say. The system is against Sikhi. And we are the ones that don't even know it's against Sikhi. Appa baith ke kehande theek hi hoga. Theek nahi hai. Ye galt hai. It's Sikhi de khilaf hai. It's not our system. We've just been given it by some foreign power. And it was all designed to destroy Sikhi. And these people that we're talking about, the British Empire, not the current British, the British Empire, the ones that were imperialistic, they did not give us anything back for what we did for them. We did a lot of shahidis for this country. They do owe us. We gave our lives fighting for them in the First World War and the Second World War. But they did not respect our sacrifices. After 1914, the First World War, in 1919, they gave us Juliana Bagh. And they killed the Gurdwara Sudar. All the protests we had to do for Jeto Ka Morcha, the other Morcha you've seen, for Guru Ka Bagh Morcha, all the Nankana Sahib Morcha, that was after we fought for them in the First World War. And the second thing, after the Second World War, when we fought for them there all over the world, they then turned around and divided Punjab in half and destroyed so many Sikhs. And I'm not just talking generally, I have a personal interest in this. I want to make it clear. My Dadi died at that time as well, in 1947. My dad was 9 months old. And she died because there was no access to medical care. Because everybody had to leave house. Because they told us, on 1 day's notice, you are now living in Pakistan. We found out after independence where we're living. They didn't give us a 2-year notice. Oh guys, you know what, your country's going to be made. You know when they knock something over, they give somebody a notice, please clear. Imagine finding out today this Gurdwara is going to get knocked down. We're all sitting inside, aren't we? Now we got to get out. They turn up with the bulldozer. Oh, did we tell you? No, they didn't. The Radcliffe line was not told to anybody. They made it in 6 weeks. They made a line between Punjab, between India and Pakistan. And this 6 weeks, they told us on the last day, here's the line. On the 15th of August 1947, you found out where you live now. And most of the Punjabis that were living in Punjab, which is now part of Pakistan, had to leave. And that included my family and many of your families, and people had to die because of that line. It killed 1 million people. They could have left slowly, they could have left in 2 years' time. There was no rush to get out. They could have drawn that line and said, you've got 1 year or 2 years to sell your houses and move. Instead, millions of Sikhs were raped and then 1 million people died. That was the reward for fighting for them in Second World War. So we done a lot for them. They do owe us a lot. But they did nothing for us. And that's proven by history. I'm not just making that up, it's proven by history. Go on the Waheguru course, watch the bit about independence, you'll see what happened. We told them this is going to happen. We told them. And they still didn't care. So, India beintiya parwan karniya. Pulan chokha dikhe Bakshi ji gaj gaj fateh akhni. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh.
Waheguru, 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 Waheguru.